So healthcare systems interest group, these are OKRs for 2025. Our mission statement has remained unchanged. We support healthcare systems every step of their OHDSI journey. Here are our objectives. We have three main ones. So this first one will look very familiar because we do this. This is our core objective. To provide support for transforming your EHR data and any other type of non-claims data you have. So if you have registry data or clinical trials, anything like that, we can help you transform that to the OMOP CDM. Our second objective is to establish a repository for community contributed semantic mappings. This is continued from 2024 with slightly different key results this time. And then also we would like to contribute to the Book of OHDSI. It's not showing up, but these are the things we're gonna do. All right, so first objective, our key results. We're gonna have some office hour style agendas during our regularly scheduled meetings, approximately 10 times a year. Now, Roger Carlson has also started a sub-working group of the healthcare systems, and it's called Getting Started. And those are on the opposite Mondays of when health systems meet. And that's for anybody just getting started on their OHDSI journey, or even if you're a few years in and you have some questions, we just have an open agenda. You show up, you ask your questions, and if we don't know the answers, we know somebody that does know the answers. We've been within the OHDSI community for a really long time, so we know all the key players and know where those answers can be found. And then we also monitor and answer questions on the forums, which is always a good place to go to ask any of your questions. For our objective number 2, which is establishing the repository for the community contributed semantic mappings for use by others in their ETL. This is an objective we had last year. We were able to gather the requirements and secondary to these requirements, one of the requirements, we might have now found a solution of where to store these mappings. So I thank Caden for his help in this. And so we're trying to establish that repository and we're working on some best practices now. And then we would like to successfully upload a contribution to the repository. And then we want somebody to successfully download that and use that in their ETL. So these are our key results, is to get that physically up and running. And then number 3 is we would like to contribute to the Book of OHDSI. I have a lot of desires and ideas about this for a health systems chapter. Now that's if we are okayed by Christian and Sarah and the powers that be, because this may be considered a pet subject for health systems. But the key results would be to outline a health systems chapter, and then we want to write an executive summary for each section within our chapter. And also start writing 2 sections. Now, this is a very large endeavor, and the OHDSI community is run by volunteers, and so is this working group. So we didn't go too big and say we're going to complete a chapter, but at least we want to get it started. And if we are not okayed by the Book of OHDSI, then we will publish this somewhere else as a, I don't know, a white paper or contribution in some type of form. And please come to our meetings. We are located in MS Teams. You can sign up via the link to sign up for the education work group. You can sign up for any work group from that through Elise. Our meetings are every other Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Everybody is welcome, so please join the journey.
We, as we were talking about the OKRs of the vocabulary work group in 2025, the objectives do not really change from year to year. So the very first objective we want to tackle this year is, as usual, support any vocabulary related activities of work groups and contributors. And the 2 key results here is to hold regular office hours to address any questions from the users and contributors. And the change from the last year is that we will find a different time for the office hours. We're still keeping the noon EST Tuesday meeting, but we will find another time for office hours so that it's accessible for our European colleagues and colleagues in Asia. Another key result is to talk to all of the work groups and collect their vocabulary needs That's already been done 2 years ago, but we want to repeat that given that needs evolve and packages evolve as well. And this is where we have a call to action to the community. If somebody wants to participate in that work, please come to the work group meeting and get involved in getting the needs from the community. The second objective is to increase vocabularies, content, and process transparency. This is something we've been focused on for, again, the past 2 years. The key result one is to run sessions for all of the proposed changes. This is something that we've been doing. We got good feedback about it and we want to continue it. What it means is that whenever we introduce any significant changes, be it vocabulary team or our community contributors, we want to run it by you to make sure it doesn't disrupt your processes. So please watch out for the agenda of the vocabulary work group posted on the forums and also in Teams so that you do not miss those important changes. And going back to Maria, she shared the link to the upcoming changes. Please check it out as well. We also want to increase the transparency of what is going on with the vocabularies in the community. And this is where key result number 2 is to have at least 2 sessions with the external speakers highlighting their experience, expertise, and work in the vocabularies. And we have lots of amazing people in the community doing something with the vocabularies. So if you want to share your experience, please reach out so that we can put you on the agenda and the world can learn about the amazing work you do. And then finally, the third objective is to enable vocabulary-related collaboration in the community. And here we have a new key result for this year. This year, we will focus on running a vocabulary-a-thon on race and ethnicity. This has been a topic raised many times on the forums about how we need better race, ethnicity data for our research. And what we're missing right now is a comprehensive set of terms to represent all of the races and ethnicities. So we will, myself together with Melanie and Christian, we are opening a call to action for our data partners to submit their information about race and ethnicity. And we will have forum posts and also we will talk more about that later on in the year. But if you have race and ethnicity data, you also don't have to wait until this announcement. You can reach out to me right now and submit your data. And the forum post to follow will describe in more detail the timelines and the specific data elements we will be collecting. And that concludes our key results and objectives.
So we're quite a new working group in OHDSI community. We just started out last year, beginning of last year, and I co-chair this groups together with Ruud Zelles. So our OKRs from last year are a little bit of this year, a little bit of follow-up from our achievements from last year. This was our mission statement from last year. This hasn't changed. We want to promote better rehabilitation care by leveraging the OHDSI collaborative to enable large-scale observational rehabilitation research. So a short recap of what we achieved last year. We had 4 working group sessions, which were very productive, where we learned from the people in our community and also reached out to some of the other working groups, for example, to Anna, and in our last meeting, Christian Reich had a very insightful presentation on the issues with mapping survey data. So there we discovered some of the issues that we have with specific rehabilitation related data, mapping them to the OMOD3DM and lack of vocabulary in our field. And right now we have 62 contacts from many different countries. So that's a nice community that we're setting up there. We're sharing mainly experiences right now from 2 major projects that we have in rehabilitation. That is the Prepare Rehab project, which is a European Horizon project with 9 different countries, which is rehabilitation-wide. And we have the Umbrella project, which is an IHI project with 20 public and private partners. And of course, the overlap between those projects is that we want to leverage the OMOP CDM and other OHDSI tools to create an infrastructure to analyze our rehabilitation data. So our objective for this year is to create more awareness for the OHDSI tools and availability in the rehabilitation research world, and to build a learning community with our rehabilitation researchers. We want to again have at least 4 working group meetings, maybe even a little bit more. And we want to have 50 active members. So we do have quite some members in there, but we want to have them actively participate in our working groups as well. And we want to increase the international awareness of what OHDSI and OMOP, the CDM, can provide in the rehabilitation research community through social media presentations and meetings. And our second objective for this year is to address the challenges and working towards best practices for using the OMOP CDM in rehabilitation research. So last year, we mainly explored what are the challenges through our working group meetings, and now we want to see if we can establish some first steps towards best practices. So we want to start mapping rehabilitation-specific outcome data. We want to start mapping rehabilitation-specific treatments as well. And we want to continue to reach out to other working groups like we did last year to get insights on where they have encountered similar issues to ours. And I actually really liked as well the idea, I think, from Melanie to have some type of a repository with the semantic mappings. I think that would be a very good idea for our rehabilitation working group as well. So probably we're going to steal that as one of the key goals for our working group.
So I'm Stephanie Leonard. I co-run the Perinatal and Reproductive Health group, which we call PREG, along with Allison Callahan and Louisa Smith. And these are our 2025 objectives and key results that our group has decided on. So our first one, which we led by Rupa from J&J, was to develop, implement, and disseminate a comprehensive pregnancy algorithm study within the OHDSI network, focusing on a data-driven understanding of pregnancy episodes and building the foundation for pregnancy-related studies within the OHDSI community. All this sounds really fundamental. Our group is relatively young. We just finished our second year, and just creating a comprehensive pregnancy algorithm has been one of our main undertakings that we're really excited to focus on accomplishing this year, and hopefully would be widely useful to the OHDSI community and the pregnancy researchers. And I won't read through maybe all of these. You can read through them, but these are the key results below. Our second objective is to complete a network comparative effectiveness and safety study to serve as a model for future ones. And this is something we've also been working on, especially the past year, where we've run a NIH-funded maternal health data science fellowship as part of an NIH Maternal Health Improve initiative. And so specifically, this is one that I'm leading and would be conducting an evaluation of, there's 2 main antihypertensive medications that are used in pregnancy, and focusing on that and using EHR data from at least 3 institutions. There's 5 total, by the way. So this is number 3, our third objective is to incorporate pregnancy-specific EHR modules into the OMOP CDM. And I'll say kind of briefly, this has also been a challenge for our group because a lot of the EHR data for pregnancy is in a specific module of EHR in EPIC that's called EPIC Stork. And so we've been a big undertaking that we're excited that we think we have good progress on, is to finish mapping those specific elements into the OMOP CDM. And I've listed those specific elements here, which are really essential elements of pregnancy and reproductive research. And number 4 is to provide training and education to perinatal and reproductive health researchers interested in OHDSI projects. As I mentioned, we currently are more than halfway through our maternal health data science fellowship, which has been led by Paul Nagy and collaborators at Johns Hopkins. We also plan to continue running our in-person OHDSI symposium events, thinking of a study-a-thon this coming year. And we've had a lot of interest in creating a repository of materials, so we want to focus on that as well. And then our last OKR, number 5, is to develop and share phenotypes guided by newly established maternal health common data elements. So these common data elements, or CDEs, were also undertaken by the NIH Fund Improve initiative and led by Andrea Karinga at Johns Hopkins. And so based on these, which were just released, we want to focus on establishing phenotypes for the 3 domains of the biomedical maternal health CDEs. And that is it. If you have any questions or interested in coming to our work group, please reach out.
On behalf of George Ripsack and the Central Coordinating Center, I'm going to represent our steering work group. The purpose of our steering work group, we exist to support the community and its leaders in collaboratively generating the evidence that promotes better health decisions and better care. We do that by identifying, organizing, and guiding collaborative activities and facilitate communications across the community, providing input to operations for the OHDSI Central Coordinating Center, and building consensus on a vision of where the OHDSI community could go together. Just to be very clear, the steering work group is just like every other work group. It's an opportunity for anybody who's interested in engaging to come and participate. We have our meetings on Fridays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we welcome input from folks. This year, our objectives, continuing on objectives we had last year. The first is to focus on empowering work groups to contribute to collaboratively generate evidence that better promotes better health decisions and better care. And what we're going through right now is part of that effort. We want to make sure that all the work groups are heard and that everybody in the community knows the opportunities to contribute. So making sure that all of the work groups share their OKRs and have an opportunity to broadly communicate is one with our goals for this first quarter. Our second objective is to create and support collaborative activities that encourage collaborative evidence generation and dissemination that promotes better health decisions, better care. We do that both through convening and coordinating various in-person activities, such as you just heard, OHDSI 2025 Global Symposium will be held October 7th through 9th. We also try to support the regional symposium, promote their activities. So you've seen the dates and locations of those and hope that you'll engage in that. The other objective is to focus on community activities to support 2025's OHDSI focus areas. And we're hoping to have lots of engagement as one of our metrics of participation here. So for those of you who missed at the start of the year, we described our OHDSI focus areas for this year in 4 categories: guideline-driven evidence generation, evidence-driven data standardization, evidence-driven open source development, and evidence-driven collaborative education. And the steering group is not the group that's doing all of this work. We're just trying to help guide all of the respective work groups to contribute to that.